Hello, everybody. I'm here with Stan, Rio, and Nick, and today we've got a celebrity in our midst.
Is it Ricky Muniz?
Maybe.
Oh.
Is it Tom Cruise?
Dude.
Maybe Tom Cruise. He is a voice actor who is near and dear to our hearts.
Mark Gotha?
Ricky Muniz?
Is he?
Wait. Muniz isn't a voice actor.
No, he was. He was in the Dalmatians game. He's a voice actor, technically.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Not just anyone could be a voice actor these days.
But no, he is someone even better. If you like Dean Angel, you might recognize him as Krad, or if you like Saint Seiya, he is Seiya.
Or if you like Razafon, he's Makoto Ishiki.
And a bunch of other things. Please welcome Illich Guardiola.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Illich.
How are you?
Pleasure to have you with us.
Indeed.
Nice to be here.
It's been a wild ride getting you here on the Skit Style BBS podcast.
I know, we've tried to schedule it and reschedule it, and finally it's actually happened. It's like a dream.
Yeah, for you listeners who don't know, we've been talking with Illich here for like a month now, almost?
It was a long time.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Skype, it's like chatting it up. When can we do this?
Right.
Right.
All in all, it's just good to have a professional on here finally.
I know, right?
For once.
Indeed.
So for those who don't know what you're all about, Illich, how about you just give us a little rundown of yourself?
Let's see. I've been acting on stage and in TV and film for a long time, for about 20 years, something like that. And I've been doing the voice acting for maybe about 15 of those years. Used to be in the stable for ADV Films when that was in existence, and then now in the reincarnations of what that company used to be, and Seraphim Studios and Section 23, all these other companies that I broke down into. Been doing did some Funimation work for a little bit, and that's it. I've been voice acting for quite some time now. I enjoy it.
Awesome. So you're our first. So congratulations.
Indeed.
Oh, good.
First celebrity interview.
I'm breaking y'all in. I always I'm weirded out by the term celebrity. When you're a voice actor, unless people hear you talk, then they don't really recognize you. So it's really, for me, it's always, voice acting is really gratifying in that way, because nobody knows me when I go to conventions or whatever, what I look like. But when they start to hear me talk, they're like, oh, I kind of know that voice.
Oh, it's that one guy. You know him.
Right.
Keep putting out Instagram videos. People will start knowing you.
I've been singing a lot lately on Instagram, yeah. Ever since the video feature came out.
Nice. All right, so Ryan, you gonna get us started on this here deal?
Yeah, I'll get us started. Now, before I ask him this question, I have to preface this. We are a podcast based around the Tales video game series. So, Illich, I have to ask, have you ever heard of the Tales of series?
I don't think I have. Maybe.
All right, no problem.
Are you a gamer at all, Illich? Or
yeah, I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't consider myself a serious gamer. I mean, I've been playing video games all my life, but not in a serious way, And I wouldn't say that. I don't know what you guys consider a gamer, but I don't play hardcore games like I don't know. I guess if I say modern warfare or Halo, most real gamers would be like, "Shut up! That's not a gamer."
Yes, we all would definitely recommend the Tales. It's a JRPG and it's action oriented. So
I'll check it out.
Although you playing Seiya gives me a funny image in my head of you playing Seiya, you playing Modern Warfare or whatever gives me a funny image of Seiya or somebody going on Xbox Live and playing it or something. I don't know.
That's right. That's exactly what happens. I play Warfare as Saint Seiya.
Awesome.
Do you intimidate people with threats of meteor punches?
Exactly.
Where is my claw? Where is it?
Yeah, I know. That series was a trip, man. Because we recorded that like really fast, and it was the most fun because there was always fighting in it. You know, nowadays it seems like anime is very chatty and not enough action.
Yeah.
But Saint Seiya was basically all action. You know, like one fight or another, 3 fights in an episode or something.
And it was very systematic how all the fights would work too.
Yeah.
Fighting, a little bit of talking, more fighting.
More fighting, exactly. And a lot of media Pegasus, a lot of like all kinds of crazy names.
70% fighting.
I like it. I like that. I prefer that sometimes than the really chatty shows.
Yeah, I hear ya.
I can dig it.
I didn't realize how popular Saint Seiya was, actually. I went to a convention in Europe in Prague, and man, those people dig Saint Seiya. Crazy. I guess it's called Knights of the Zodiac over there.
Yeah, it depends on the area, but yeah, Saint Seiya or Knights of the Zodiac, whichever title you prefer. It's an interesting case because it's big literally all over the world except America.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Like I say that at conventions here, they're like, "Oh, I think I've heard of that show."
Right.
Right. Now, did you keep up with? Sorry, what were you saying?
But if you go to Europe, they're all like, they eat it up, man. And in Mexico or in South America, they love that stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge over there. Have you kept up with the series any? I know you haven't been. I don't know if you've been working on it or.
I haven't recorded it. And I think that Section 23 just got the rights to the rest of the series, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it. There was like talk about them getting it. I know that Sayuki was another big series that I was in, and they got the prequel to that recently, and I recorded that recently. So.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so that's coming out, but we still didn't get Gungrave, which was Gunlock, which was done by Dick, I think, DIC.
Mm.
So we never got a chance to record that.
But you personally, like, you haven't kept up with the series, have you? Or?
No, I really haven't. It's a very long series. I got all the way through, you know, when they were trying to get the golden armor. I got all the way through that, recorded it all the way through that, and saw a little bit more past that because we were going to record it before ADV went under, and then I just haven't kept up with it since.
Right.
Yeah, you'd have to really sit down to keep up with it. There's like 100 episodes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think we only recorded about 50, maybe just 50 to 60. So there's a whole slew of them that I don't know anything about.
Right. The movies recently came out, and those are definitely a nice watch. We last episode we reviewed the first 3 because we hadn't watched the 4th one yet.
Mhm.
Definitely. I think it's starting to pick up, and I really hope more of it starts to come out later on.
Yeah, you know, I hope so too. I really, it's a series that's near to my heart, and I hope that more people are exposed to it and enjoy it as much as I have.
Yeah, and you said that Section 23 may have licensed the rest of it.
There was talk of it, and I know that when they shelved it, I'm not sure because Funimation bought a lot of the titles that ADV had. Mm-hmm. Like one of the titles, it was weird because I've seen one of my titles that I was in, Le Chevalier d'Eon, with packaging for ADV, and then I saw it repackaged for Funimation. Right. But it's still our voices. It's still the ADV actors' voices. So it's really kind of a bizarre situation. But yeah, I think I heard that that ADV was only shelving and that they already had the licensing for some of it. So I don't know exactly what happened to that license, whether they lost it or not.
Do you think maybe Sentai's picked it up?
Well, that's possible. It's possible because when everything broke down, when all the companies broke down that used to be ADV, certain of them took certain licenses. And so I don't know exactly who kept the license or whether they have to re-up every so many years or something.
Right.
Now, if you were to come back and do Seiya, is there anything you would do differently?
Well, you know, people ask me this all the time. It's really interesting. That voice acting is so episodic in nature that it's basically the same kind of process. So I would not try to change anything too much. I would really, in watching the series a lot more, once it was dubbed, there's certain things that I would do with the character, I think, that would be maybe different than when I started. But once I got into the groove of it in the middle of what I recorded, I probably wouldn't change too much from that. So I would kind of re-listen to it and be like, okay, this is what I did. At the beginning of the series, it's always hard to get your bearings when you get it, because all you're relying on is the producer to tell you what's going on. Right. But once you know a little bit more about the character, then I there's things that I would do differently. And knowing Seiya the way that I do now, I think that would be advantageous to me.
Right. Now, how do you usually prepare for like a voice acting role or any kind of role? And how did you prepare for Seiya?
For Seiya, for example, I knew that would be a very Foley heavy show, so I would do a lot of like vocal warm ups to make sure that I could do all the screaming and all the Foley that's necessary. So I would probably warm up a lot more for a show like Seiya than I would for like something like Rasafon, which the character is much more quiet until he freaks out at the end, you know.
Oh yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah.
Right. And
Makoto Ishiki is much easier character to voice because it's really just a very quiet character, as opposed to Seiya has quiet moments, but there's a lot of Foley that goes along with it. And those fights, like we were talking about, all that action, it requires a lot more from you vocally. So right. I'd warm up more.
Yeah. Now, for Saint Seiya specifically, what were your favorite and least favorite parts about dubbing Saint Seiya?
Well, sometimes there'd be whole episodes, or maybe like a whole series of episodes where I'd be running through the whole thing. So like, this is kind of a weird thing because like I don't think, when you show up for slates of a certain amount of hours, and sometimes that will take you through 4 or 5 episodes, or maybe it'll just take some episodes are particularly hard, so you maybe just get through 2 because there's a lot of talking in it.
Right.
So the episodes where I was running a lot, I didn't like those so much because there was a lot of like stop and talk and then let's just stop and fight. I just don't like those. And so I just didn't feel like I could get into a real good groove with those. But the episodes where like there was 2 fights and then you see Saint Seiya like resting and or he was recovering from his fights. Those are my favorite, I think, because there'd be more challenge as an actor to do different things,
Right.
I hear ya.
So those are the places where you could show your range as an actor. Those are my favorite things to voice. The things where like it's the same thing over and over, I don't enjoy as much.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
We hear ya.
Right. Now, besides acting, what is your like job or passion?
This is all I do. All I do is act. I actually teach a lot of acting, and I direct a lot of shows. Not anime shows, but stage productions. And I usually teach middle school and high schoolers. And right now, I'm directing a production of Fiddler on the Roof for adults, and it's multi-generational. So I do a lot of that. That's kind of my day job, in addition to the voice acting that I do.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going into record next week. The show named Hakuoki. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Oh, we've got somebody here who loves the hell out of it, but she could not make it.
Indeed.
Yeah. Right. I did the first 2 seasons, and now we're doing the prequel to it. So
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan, real quick. Mind telling us who you're voicing in that, just so our little friend who couldn't make it knows.
What is his name? I forget his name right now. You would ask me right now. He's one of the Shinsengumi. He's like he's very much like Gojo, a little bit. I know he dies a really good death in this.
Spoiler alert.
It's not the end; it's the journey.
Yeah, this in the prequel, he's very much alive. This is how the Shinsengumi get together. So
Ah, gotcha.
Harada, I think his name is Harada, maybe? Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Sanosuke Harada?
Yes, I think that's it.
There we go.
Awesome. Now, for my last bit of questions I've got, these are actually coming from a Saint Seiya fan. I frequent a Saint Seiya message board called saintseiya.fan.com, and I posted like saying, "Hey, I'm going to interview Illich Guardiola. Do you want me to ask anything?" And these two questions are coming to us from the Big G. He asked, one, how upset were you when you learned that you couldn't dub Saint Seiya anymore, at least for the time being?
I was very upset for a number of reasons. I felt like I just got into a groove playing the character and I really enjoyed it. And so to have that taken from you, knowing that there's so much more of the series left to voice, that's very difficult for an actor, knowing that it's going to go to that you may never see it again and it might go to somebody else. And so that's very difficult. I was very upset on that. On that factor of it really upset me, and then also what upset me about it was a very steady job that I'd come to love and that I'd gotten good at, and for it to go away and to move to something else, when you voice a character, it's like a little baby that you have, and now you have to, once the series is over, you get upset because you have to let it go, but knowing that the series is not over and you don't get a chance to do it, that's very difficult.
I hear you. So I take it you would kind of subscribe to the actor's philosophy where you sort of become the character as you do it more and more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like if like you guys were asking me earlier what I would do differently, I don't know that I would do anything differently, but it would be like getting back to like an old friend or something, because I know the character so well now. I feel like I could snap right back into it and not
nice.
Yeah.
Well, there is a Saint Seiya fighting game coming out. We don't know we know it's going to come to Europe, but we don't know about the U.S. So maybe there's hope for that if it does get localized.
Oh, that was lovely.
That's
I had a lot of fun.
It's coming up for PlayStation 3, and this is one of the examples of Saint Seiya being popular everywhere else except for North America, because it's. Okay. And the funny thing is, Namco, the people who are publishing it in North America, but only in like Brazil and Mexico and Latin America, not North America.
Because it's so huge down in this. I don't know why it didn't take off here. We had a really.
Me neither.
Yeah, but and then there's also Saint Seiya Omega, which I'm really enjoying. That's being streamed on Crunchyroll. So Saint Seiya is definitely continuing, and there's talks of a new manga coming out. Just
wow.
A lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to, and I would love to, and I think a lot of times fans do have some control by just writing their favorite distributors and going, hey, you guys should just finish this, and we really enjoy your dub, we really enjoyed the way that you produced it, and we would love for you to continue it. Sometimes that's something that I love about anime fans, that they do have a lot of say and a lot of control, more than they think,
Right.
All right, you all heard them. Take up your torches and pitchforks. We're marching over there.
Right, pretty much. So on that note, then, Illich, what would be the best plan of action? I guess I'll say, if someone wanted Saint Seiya to continue, not even if they never dub, like they release it on DVD or something.
Yeah, the demand for it, they being able to make sure that it's that you are getting it legally via stream or whatever, however you want. If you want a hard copy like a DVD, which I think is less popular nowadays, but just streaming or whatever, just ask your companies, your distributors that you like, to be like, hey, this is a show that we really love. We would love to see you guys continue with this, or we'd love for you guys to do this. There's a big fan base out there that maybe you just are not aware of, and I know that if the company sees that there are people willing to demand the product, then it's very difficult for them to deny that too much. It's very difficult for them to ignore it.
Right.
We hear you.
Yeah. And the Big G's second question is, who is your favorite character other than Seiya?
I like what's his name? The guy with the chain.
Oh, Shun.
Soon.
I love Shun and his kind of, I don't know, weird. The show has a lot of like awesome homoerotic tendencies, I think. but I think Shun in particular, the way his character design and all, is there. I think it's
the pink armor really sells it.
Pink armor, I think, really tells me a lot.
Right.
Did they get to the part in the dub where like Shun just lays with Hyoga to warm him up?
Yeah, that was in the dub.
Yeah, it's like we got to that, we were all like, oh, there.
Let's get some mood music.
I like Hyoga too. Hyoga's a cool guy,
All right.
It's kind of hard to pick a favorite. I love Seiya, of course. He's the best.
There you go.
Nick's a big Shiryu fan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shiri's good. Yeah. No, I
So I like face down in the water.
This is what I'm saying. There's so many of them that you're like, oh, I like this part where this guy did this,
Mm-hmm.
Right. But Shun has a special place in my heart.
All right.
I think Shun has a special place in all of our hearts.
In all of our hearts, yes. Yeah. He's very special.
Oh goodness.
Right.
This conversation's taken a left turn for sure.
So, Stan, you had some questions for him as well?
Yeah. Just in case you haven't caught on, I know we're kind of rotating here, so like Ryan has a set of questions, then it's me, and then whoever else is taking over. All right. So my first one is the question. It's the most generic question everyone asks a voice actor, but it's like a rule you have to ask it. Sure. How did you become a voice actor?
I don't know if you guys know of a voice actress. Her name is Monica Real.
Oh.
Yeah, we went to college together, and she had been asking me to come audition for ADV for a long time. And I kept putting it off and saying, no, I don't need to do that. I'm a stage actor. That's what I do. And she just kept at me about it. And one day I just decided to go to a cattle call, and I met. I think I auditioned for Matt and for Stephen Foster, and they liked my voice, and the rest is history. And it was a cattle call. It was like a ton of actors coming in to audition for a few shows.
Sweet. So I guess the moral of this episode is annoy somebody until you get what you want.
Absolutely, that's the moral of anything. And, she, to her credit, she was very good about it. She was just like, this is kind of like acting, and I think you'll like it. And she wasn't like annoying about it. She was just like very, hey, there's another audition coming up. You should come in. I really like working for this company. And yeah, it was. I now have Monica Real to thank for my voice acting career.
If we ever get her, we'll have to thank her for you.
Yes, absolutely. You should. You should be able to get her.
All right. Ryan, you heard him.
I did.
More about it.
You hear that, Monica? You're next.
That's certainly foreboding.
Yeah,
that sounded vaguely threatening.
Yeah.
Let's not threaten people.
You probably
not today.
It differently. Just phrase it a little differently. It'll be fine.
Monica, are you next? Question mark.
Sure.
Oh, goodness. All right. This one, you kind of sort of answered it already, but I figured I'd ask anyway. Do you watch the shows you do voices for, or you just like voice them and you're like, well, that was that, and you just like go on or whatever?
It depends on the show. There are some shows that I've done. I'm ashamed to say that I just did not like the character, or was not enjoying the way that the show looked, and so I still have them all packaged up nicely because they give you a DVD of everything that you do.
Nice.
And there are some shows that I'm an avid watcher of, and that I just loved voicing, first of all, and that I became a fan of the show through voicing it, or those rare jewels that I knew the show beforehand and was really wanting to voice it and was blessed enough to get a part in one of the shows.
No.
So yeah, I am an anime watcher. I like it. I like it a lot. I used to watch anime before I became a voice actor, back in the day. And so it's really a privilege for me to be able to be in an industry that I've been a fan of as well.
Sweet. Can you name us a few of those shows that you really loved?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, of course, Akira, and then I really dug the original Fist of the North Star. I used to watch that when I was a kid. And of course Robotech, which I was then later able to voice Macross and Appleseed. I was then very blessed to be able to be part of Appleseed Ex Machina movie. So I was just I've had a good career like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about Dragon Ball Z? You like Dragon Ball Z?
I love Dragon Ball Z. I love Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
You're Ryan's new favorite person.
Of course.
I love it. I got to do some for Funimation. Not that I was never credited for it because it was just I happened to be up there in the studio in Dallas and so that was I was a total fanboy when that happened.
Nice. All right. Let's see. Next one. This one's kind of a multi-parter, but it still kind of goes together. First part is, do you have a favorite role that you've done, or can you not choose, or like what?
Yeah, that's like choosing between your kids, man. I don't know. I like Saint Seiya. He's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I would say after that maybe Gojo and Sayuki. I also liked I don't know if you guys know this show, Samurai Gun.
Heard of it.
That was a fun show. I like Kato and Gantz. I love that role. There's a lot of screaming, so it was very difficult vocally, but I really liked playing the role. I liked let me see, Cromartie High. Have you guys seen that show?
I have.
Oh yeah.
You have to like that guy. Hayashida is ridiculous.
And his purple mohawk.
It's the purple mohawk that moves and flaps around, and it's crazy. Anyway, I love voicing that role. Krad was great and easy. Pre-tier, there was a show called Pre-tier that I really liked, and I played Hayate in that. That was fun. I have a lot of them that I've been very fortunate to play cool roles like Armand and Durand and Le Chevalier d'Eon. It's a really lovely show and that no one knows, but really great role. I had a good time with that.
So what we can take from this is you love your job.
I love my job. Yeah, Ishiki was good. Makoto Ishiki is a great role and awesome range. Yeah, I love it. I love doing what I do.
Oh yeah, we'll be coming back to Makoto later, but for now, part 2. On the flip side, is there any role where you're like, man, this is the pits? If I weren't getting paid, I wouldn't be doing this, or like anything like that?
As much as I love to do Kato, it was very difficult at times, and there were times in the booth where I was like, oh man, I'd rather be doing anything right now than this. But I'm very happy with the way it turned out. You're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to be working in what I'm doing, so it's very difficult to just be like, no, I hate this. I'd rather be doing anything else. But there are times when it becomes very vocally demanding, and so there are times where you're like, oh, my voice is just so tired. I don't want to be doing this right now. I wish I could not have to scream for the next 2 hours.
Right.
So it depends on the role. Yeah.
Right. All right, and then the final part of this question, are there any roles you've done that you feel like people should know more about, like they're really underrated, or like they're from a show that just like nobody picked up on, unfortunately, or whatever?
Yeah, there are some really great shows that are out there that nobody picked up on. Pre-tier is one of them. Le Chevalier d'Eon is another one. There's a show that nobody saw, but I love the pace of the show, and I had a really small part in it, but it's called Kino's Journey. You guys ever heard?
Oh, who are you in Kino's Journey?
I played the guy in the library, the writer.
Oh.
I did a bunch of little roles, and I've had like big episodes that were mine. If you re-listen, that was really early in my career, in my work. But if you listen carefully, you'll find me.
Awesome. Yeah, I loved Kino's Journey. Just saying.
It's a great show.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, All right. We said we said we were coming back to Makoto, so I just have, like, just to give more shows on Saint Seiya, quick Razafon question. Do you remember your role as Makoto, and if so, what was your take on the character? Because of the nature of the show, like, there's a lot of different ways you could interpret him. So
Yeah.
I was just curious.
You know, I felt like Makoto was the kind of the logical side of I guess what you would consider the bad guys, and I felt like what I really enjoyed about playing the role is that I felt like the character felt very justified in doing what he was doing, and yeah, that's a difficult show to follow. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To follow because there'd be so many interpretations about it, and my take on it was just very simple. I started getting lost a little bit when we started going back and there were the parallels in time, like when we went back to the samurai era, and that's when I started to be like, oh, okay, I think this is what's going on, and then something would happen. I was like, oh, I guess I was wrong about what I thought was going on, but the reason I like to play him so much is because he seemed almost like this, Star Trek Data kind of character, kind of like a Spock kind of character, and yet there was this kind of like this like crazy streak in him where he was so emotional and would fly off the handle. So it was really rangy, and it was fun to do that, to be able to play like very logical and very kind of calm, and then to have these moments where like he was just like eating the scenery around him and just like killing people and destroying. I just really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, and his backstory only adds to all of it. It's pretty great.
Exactly.
And then the last question I have, unless like another one pops into my head, whenever you were recording your role, was there any like funny stories that happened during recording? Like, I don't know if you keep up with other voice actors, but like I was listening to an interview with Kyle at least I'm pretty sure it was Kyle Haber, and he talked about this one time where he farted in the booth and he had to record through that. So.
The weirdest things that have happened to me were, for example, sometimes there's a show that the Japanese are very proprietary on, so they'll send representatives to watch the auditions even, and to watch once you get the part, to watch you record, and it's really kind of voice acting is kind of a lonely job because it's usually just you and the director, we call the producer, and the engineer, the guy who's doing he's just playing with all the buttons and making you sound good and whatever. And so it's kind of a very kind of one-on-one job. Maybe 3 people in there at most. But to have a whole couch full of Japanese people watching you work, that was one of the weirdest experiences that I've had. And that's happened to me a couple of times when I've auditioned for video games, or when I got Terius in Appleseed Ex Machina. They were Universal was very proprietary on that, and of course the Japanese who were like designing the movie and were animating it, they wanted a very specific sound, and you'd see them like kind of have like these really intense moments that you're in the booth so you can't hear what they're saying, but you see the producer and the Japanese in the couch having these really intense like moments talking about you, and then the producer will be like, can you try that again like this? And it was obviously the direction the Japanese were giving him. So that was very interesting.
Just all those eyes staring at you, huh?
Staring at you, and you're like, oh, I hope I'm doing this right. I don't know. I'm just doing my thing,
Right.
That's a lot of fun. And also, there's moments where, like, for example, I've never done any kind of hentai or anything like that, but we've done some kind of soft. Well, there's sexual situations, and it's just bizarre when like you come out, you're coming into the booth, and maybe the actress that has just been recording is coming out, and that they just recorded some kind of sex scene or whatever. That is like embarrassing to me. I don't know why, but like, because they have to sit there and make all these noises, and like, I don't know, it just makes me laugh, because I know a lot of those actresses, like, oh, poor Shelley, she had to do this,
It's like audio sex, but very indirectly.
Exactly.
And a lot more awkward.
A lot more. In Gantz, for example, there were all those rape scenes, and I'm like, I know the actress that's getting raped, or the voice of the actress.
Oh.
So that's just like, that was like, oh my god.
Oh wow.
I never thought I'd hear that.
I never thought of it that way.
Weird, right?
Great. Terrible, but great.
When you do it, you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, ugh.
Do you need me to take you to lunch later?
Actually, I feel like I should get you a drink at least.
So yeah, unless anything else pops in my head. Thanks for answering those questions. That's all I got for now.
Of course.
All right, so Nick, do you want?
I guess I can go next. First of all, I have a small little question. Do you know if there are any anime conventions in Greece? I wonder how they like Saint Seiya.
You know what? I'm sure there are. Anime is such a global thing now. And I wonder about that too, because it must be cool to hear all the references to Greek mythology, and that must be cool for them. But it's not like it's terribly accurate or anything like that. I think that it's a Japanese version of Greek mythology. So I don't know. I think it must be kind of a mixed bag for them.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm Greek, so when I finally, like, at first I didn't really like Saint Seiya, but then I kind of got into it, and I got into it, and I was like, huh, there are a lot of, like, Greek mythology things in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was a big Greek mythology person when I was younger. I used to read Greek mythology all the time, and I really dug it. And, so for me, the show was like, oh, that's cool. I can see where they're getting this, or like why the weapon is this because they're supposed to be this, this in Greek mythology, and yet I started seeing the kind of inaccuracies and the kind of Japanization of what was going on, and I was like, that's just not exactly right. But
yeah,
I guess it just depends on what you really.
All right.
I would say it's a mix.
I have one last Saint Seiya question.
Okay.
Like, when you got the part for Seiya, did you, like, research Seiya at all? Did you, like, read the manga or something to kind of prepare yourself for what the character was going to be like? Or did you just think going in that you were just going to kind of try to mold the character to be what you wanted?
I did read a little bit of the manga, and I was able to watch some of the Japanese episodes online ahead of time. And so I feel like that's how I prepare. Is I like to just know a little bit of background, and then I don't want to over prepare. And what I mean by that is I don't want to go in there with a preconceived notion of how I'm going to do the character, because it really depends on the producer and what they want, and I want to be able to collaborate with them a little bit and not just have made up my mind about it. But yeah, you do a little bit, because I want to know at least about the names or what's going to happen, or have some sort of idea of what's going on in the show before I get in the booth.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now on to actually what is my favorite anime and the first anime I ever watched, which is D and Angel.
Oh, it's a beautiful show. Yeah.
It was. I remember I was really young, and we had just gotten like on demand and had anime, and I was like, D and Angel sounds cool, and I just kind of sat down and watched the entire thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's shows like that are just for me, D and Angel was one of those shows where, like, first of all, it's just such a pretty show to look at, and it's really beautiful, like, visually, and then I thought that it was very successful at, like, capturing kind of angsty teenager thing, and I think that's why people relate to it so much. I think because, like, the angsty teenager in me was very intrigued by the show and really loved it.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because the two really characters that I know you for most are Seiya and Krad. And obviously they're very different in, like, how they speak and, like, their mannerisms. And I was wondering, firstly, is there a character that you, like, a type of character that you enjoy playing more? Like, is it, like, the Seiya type of character who's all go get him and, like, a haughty, battle-ready person? Or is it, like, a Krad type of character who's actually, the way I can put it, basically looking down on everyone and just kind of ostentatious in, like, his mannerisms?
Yeah, I'd have to say that villains are much more fun to play because they're more complex. If it's a good villain, like, you get to they try to justify the reason why they're being bad, you know, and so I enjoy villains like that, and I felt like Krad, because he doesn't do that. He's very much like, I'm just gonna do this, and I'm better than you, and so that's what's gonna happen. I find those characters harder to play because I try to give my characters some kind of way for the audience to be sympathetic towards them, and I felt like with Krad it was hard to do that, except for that he was a badass, you know, and I think that people can relate to that. They want that badass kind of role. But yeah, at first I had a hard time with Krad because you want to give your characters, you want to give the audience something to latch onto your character with, and I felt with Krad he was actually very trying to close himself off from almost everybody, but it was fun to do.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Really, like, I went back a couple days ago and rewatched D&A Angel, the dub, because I had watched the dub first, but I didn't remember much of the dub because I was young, so I went and watched the sub, and then a couple days ago I went back and watched the dub, and, like, I really enjoyed your performance from Krad. I felt like was kind of sympathetic towards Krad a little bit, but it's kind of hard to be sympathetic towards someone who's just kind of evil.
A tool.
He's not a tool. He's...
You know, it's really interesting the way that the show starts off to, like, you see the first thing you see is him and Dark fighting.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't come on for a while, and then he's got this really great entrance, and I remember them saying, you know, like, what's gonna be your laugh like, and you know, so like he starts off with that little like chuckle at the beginning. And immediately I was like, okay, I know who this guy is. I was like, I know how to do this. You know, and from then on it was just so much fun to just be kind of like, you know, I don't care about you. I'm just gonna do what I want, and I'm gonna destroy in Dark, and you know, and I'll even destroy my host, the person who's like I'm inside of, if I have to, you know, because he doesn't care about anybody, you know.
Yeah. One question that I wanted to ask for one of our other friends who couldn't be here. Doing your time on D&A Angel, did you ever meet Vic Mignogna?
Yeah, Vic and I are actually good friends. I haven't spent as much time with Vic lately, but you know, he's so big with Full Metal Alchemist or whatever, and so he does a lot of conventions. He used to be more based out of Houston than he is now. But actually, he and I did a couple of shows together. We did Guys and Dolls together, and so yeah. I mean, Vic and I hang out and have hung out, and we're friends. And we've known each other for years now. And all the voice actors, a lot of the voice actors that I've worked with, I'm, you know, pretty good friends with. Chris Patton is a great friend of mine. You know, late high school and early college, he would, you know, spend the night at my house, and you know, this is the kind of relationships that I have with all these actors.
that just gave me kind of a funny image of like you and Chris in your PJs staying up late watching movies.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But like, you know, a lot of these actors are stage actors too. So like I've shared the stage with a lot of them, and I've known them from before the voice acting years, from doing productions with them, or from hanging out with them after productions and stuff like that. So.
And my final question, it's kind of for me personally, but for anyone else who's listening, I'm trying to find a new anime to watch. Is there like one role in particular that you've done that you would recommend the show to someone who's looking for really any type of anime to go and just spend their time watching?
Yeah, I did the show that was really interesting to me. It's called F: A Tale of Memories and F: A Tale of Melodies. And it was a really kind of interesting anime, and I really like animes that are different than all the other animes. That's why I like Kino's Journey so much, because the pacing of it is so different than most anime.
Oh yeah.
But F: A Tale of Melodies and the F: A Tale of Memories is a series that's divided into two sections, obviously. And in the first section, the characters that are the lead in that section play the secondary characters in the second part of the show, and vice versa. So you get to see like two sides of a coin. It's really interesting the way that it's structured. And So a character that you think might not be that important in the second series, they become the focus. And then when you start putting the two pieces together of the show, you start realizing how everything interrelates. It's really kind of cool. So that's one that I would suggest you watch. I also enjoyed doing recently this crazy show called Penguin Drum. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
I actually kind of skimmed the summary last night, and it looks kind of neat.
It's not neat. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. but it was fun.
I'm fond of crazy.
Yeah, but it was fun to do, and so I watched it, and it was kind of fun to watch too. I wouldn't. It's not one of those shows where you're gonna try to gather a lot of meaning out of, but it's just kind of a fluffy, fun kind of show.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Awesome.
I've really only got one question, and it just kind of stands out on this list of things you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Ghost Stories?
Yeah, how could I forget that?
It's always a good sign when your first response is laughter.
That was a fun show to do because basically with the premise or the way that the producer decided to go with this show was they decided that the Japanese version, the Japanese was so unintelligible and so bad that we were just going to throw the script away and rewrite as we went along, and it made it the funniest, the kind of like most spontaneous and just fun. It's just a fun show to watch and to have been a part of course. I play the dad.
Yes, that's his father.
And it was just so much fun to hear all these ad libs from Chris Patton's character and Monica Rial's character and all of them. And then the dad would just come in and say the randomest things, and
and then waltz right off.
It waltzed right off. Yeah, it was just it's just silly and fun and one of the highlights of my acting career as far as like voice acting because it was different than any other process. We were just making lines up as we went along, and we'd say, "Well, how about this? Well, what if I say this? Or let's try this." And then you'd never know which one you'd end up with. So until you saw the episode, so that was just loads of fun.
It's like a diamond found amidst a bunch of stuff because even today, gag dubs are notoriously rare.
Yeah.
And that was just great.
And even today, which is what it's been like 5-6 years, maybe 7 years since the dub, it still holds up. The comedy in it still holds up because it's just us being stupid. It's just all of us in this booth going, "Let me just say this and see if you like it."
I think it is the first anime I ever heard of where like the producer, director, whatever looked at the script and was like, "Nope, crap," and just tossed it and just started over.
Let's start over, and who cares if we're not saying what's supposed to be being said? We're just gonna make up our own crap.
Make up your own story.
It's actually 8 years old nearly 8 years old at this point.
Yeah, and I think I watched like 2 episodes the other day because somebody was like, "What's this Ghost Stories about?" It's like, "Yeah, you should watch this because it's hilarious," and I was still laughing my ass off. So
I have a quick cut-in real quick about since you guys didn't use the script for the Japanese, did you kind of have to format your lines or what you're going to say so that they would kind of match up with the lips, or did you have somebody come in and kind of edit
there was that
way?
The producer will sit there and go, "Okay, it's got 29 flaps, and we're gonna match. There's a pause here," and he'll come up with a line. He'll come up with something like it was almost like doing long form improv, because he'd come up with a line, but then you could kind of riff off of that, and he would say, "Well, I want you to say something like this," and so I'd say something like that, and it was like, "Oh, there's still like two more flaps there. Can you add something to that?" And so then I would riff on whatever the original line was that he had in mind, and go from there.
There actually was a joke in the show where he was trying to match up with these insanely fast lip flaps.
Yes.
And yet he had to force in like 2 to 3 sentences in this 5-second time space.
Yeah.
And he just rattled it off like a machine gun.
Yeah, exactly. The a lot of things like that going on. My character, not so much, but like with Chris Patton's character, for sure. And so, a lot of the lines that my that the secondary characters like my character have, I just made it. We just made up. We just made up as we went along.
Oh, almost all of them just completely hit home. They're great.
Thanks. We had a good time. In that booth.
That was my only question, but I am glad I asked it.
So, I guess we should.
Are you going to ask the question about Cosmos, or should I?
Why don't you?
All right. Well, it doesn't have to do with it's not the podcast one, if that's what you're thinking, but it's basically something that we were kind of chatting up about what to ask you the other day, and kind of as a joke, Nick threw it out there, but I'm going to ask it for serious. In Saint Seiya, whenever it would do the line, "Have you ever felt the true power of the cosmos?" Did you say it every single time, or did you just do it once and then they just like slapped it?
No. Kyle was adamant that it would be that I'd say it every time. It was new every time, and so that's how I kind of measured how, like, maybe I'd do like 3 or 4 episodes, and when I got to that last line, "Have you ever felt the true power of the cosmos?" I knew that we were wrapped for that day. So it's interesting because, like, I think we would try to vary it a little bit, but you have to give fans what they're used to. So you can't vary it too much, and yet you want to keep it fresh for yourself. So
right.
So yeah, I had to actually record that every time.
So like, was there ever a time where you're like, can we please just skip the line for once? Like,
there was times where I'd be like, hey, can we just get that from the last 2 times that I just did it? She'd be like, nope, just do it. So I was like, all right. Have you ever felt the true power of the cosmos?
I guess we should close off. I've got 3 kind of ending questions. Okay. And we've already talked about Saint Seiya a good bit, and I apologize if I seem like I'm beating a dead horse, but since you mentioned the possibility of Section 23 relicensing Saint Seiya, I'm sure you're working on a lot of stuff that some people may not know. Is there a little tiny hint you can give us about the possibility of more Saint Seiya stuff, or if you want anything else you've done?
Well, I think I already threw out Hakuoki out there for you guys and kind of gave away some stuff, but I think that Section 23 is looking at continuing from where we left off with the last time I talked to Joey about it, who's one of the people that gets the licensing and stuff like that, and Janice Williams and all those people. They were very keen on continuing where we left off. But that being said, that's a lot of like around the cooler type of talk, around the water cooler kind of talk. Because I haven't seen anything on paper, I haven't seen anything that would solidify that idea. But I would love it. I would love it if that happens.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yes. There's definitely plenty of Saint Seiya to do.
Although I imagine the audio quality will be kind of dissonant if they don't have you guys do the first 50 whatever episodes over again, because you'll just go from all the way back when it was first around, then to present day quality, just like a straight jump.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know how they would deal with that. But a lot of times they just remaster them and try to like throw filters on them that are that do improve the sound quality. But I don't know. I don't know how they would go about that. It'd be difficult, I think. But on the other hand, I don't think that would impede them from doing it. So.
Right.
My second to last question. This is just more of this. Like, Nick and I are both creative writing majors, but I also voice act a little bit, and I've been doing so for 8 years. But of course, I'm not a professional. So if on the off chance that there are any, and one of our friends also is trying to get into acting. So, is there any advice you would give any aspiring actors or voice actors?
Just learn anything that you can about acting, because there hasn't been something that I have learned about acting that I haven't used in all types of acting, including voice acting. And so, any classes that you can take, any kind of workshop that you can go to, any kind of training that you can do the better off you'll be. It'll help you when you don't, like, it'll help you with stamina. It'll help you to know how to use your instrument. It'll help you, it cannot hurt. It can only help you.
Right.
So take anything and everything that you can about acting, or watch anything that you can about acting, and it'll help you.
Right.
That's my advice. And go where the work is.
Exactly. And for, I guess, the final question of this evening, is there anything you want to say to the fans or the listeners of the podcast or anything?
I just want to say, to you guys, thank you for having me, first of all, in the show and on your podcast. And I just want to thank all the people that have listened to my voice and that have responded to it in some way, and they have liked it, and that have decided that that I was something that they would like to follow. And I just really appreciate the support and the love that I've received from fans. Anime fans are the best fans in the world. I think they're very loyal, and they're very sweet about their fandom and how they treat us. And I'm just so appreciative to have anime as a forum in which I can kind of reach out to people, and people can reach out to me.
Right. Before we let you go for the podcast, would you mind, in Seiya's voice, saying, Skit Style BBS Podcast, have you ever felt the true power of the cosmos?
BBS, yes, I can say that.
Awesome.
If you'd like, I have a clip of Seiya's voice if you need a refresher.
Let me hear it. Let me hear what I did.
Okay.
So, I guess he deserved it after the way he made all of us children suffer growing up. For his granddaughter, you should keep his promise. That's right. My sister and I were orphans, and he made us live miles away from each other. Then he forced me to go and fight in Greece. He said if I came back with a sacred armor.
So I have to say, Skit Style BBS Podcast?
Yes. Have you ever felt the true power of the cosmos?
That's the whole line. Okay, I might mess it up. Here you go.
All right.
Skit Style BBS Podcast. Have you ever felt the true power of the cosmos?
Wonderful.
That was great.
We're on the fly.
Ryan, are you okay over there?
Ryan?
I think Ryan's really taken back.
Well, you guys have been sweet. Thank you so much for having me on, like I said.
Thanks for putting up with us.
The episode should be up later this week, so if you want, we'll send it to you and you can hear yourself talk.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear myself talk, and you guys as well.
Awesome.
And if you ever need anything else, just let me know, and I'm available and I'm willing. Okay.
All right, sweet. We might hit you up again sometime.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Catch you.
You have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Thank you.